Hey guys, I'm back and I'm the coach and I'm doing SEC, ranking all the teams from the 2000s to now. Who's the best? Let's get into it and let's get going. All right, first off the bat, we have number 14. Last place goes to Vanderbilt. No surprise here, only 96 wins since 2000. Couldn't even get triple digits. I mean, just abysmal in the conference. 37 wins, I don't really see any hope for this program doing anything. They can't get fans to turn out to the games. They can't get the athletes to compete like any of the other schools. And hey, at least they get $100 million to basically be the, punching bag of the SEC in these years to come. So congrats, Vanderbilt. You are in last. Moving on to number 13, we have Kentucky. Their record is 129 and 153. Honestly, Kentucky's had some ups and some downs. Some big Citrus Bowl wins, Liberty Bowl, Gator Bowl. So they've won some things, but at the end of the day, what have they truly accomplished? And on the SEC, it's not been much. With a lot of mediocre seasons, with a few decent ones sprinkled in between, I think 13 is a very fair place for them. All right, moving on to number 12, we have Mississippi State. Honestly, this team has just been average record-wise, 141, 144, 2 Liberty Bowls, so have some decent bowl wins. But other than that, man, they're the stereotypical 6-6 team. Have a few decent years where they're up, a few decent years when they're down. It's kind of is what it is. I don't think, you can argue maybe they deserve to be in 13th, but I think 12 is fair. Moving on to number 11, we have Arkansas Razorbacks. They do have that amazing Cotton Bowl victory, but honestly, other than that, it's kind of been, a lot of turbulent roads. They've had some really, really bad years in recent years, but 148 wins, 138. They had that really fun ride in the mid-2000s where they were really good, but just, sandwiched in between, some kind of down years, early 2000s and present day. So I think 11's fair when you compare them to the powers of the SEC. Coming in at number 10, we have Missouri. The team from the Big 12 has joined the SEC and been, that's about the best thing to explain it. They're another one of those just teams. Nothing really too impressive. They do have those 2 Cotton Bowls. They had the really fun year where they almost found a way to be in the BCS championship game with, all they had to do was beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. That was a crazy 2007 year, but all in all, though, is their time in the SEC, they've just not been that great, but I think 10 is a fair spot for. Moving on to 9, we have Ole Miss, 148 wins, 131 losses. Not great in conference play with 112 losses. They do have 3 Cotton Bowls, a Sugar Bowl, so they've had some highs. That's why they're, above the teams that I've talked about previously, but they're not really in the upper echelon of the SEC. They've had some really good recruiting classes. They've had some really good years, and I've liked what Lane Kiffin's done with the program. So I think the future has, the ability to be special, but it's only going to get tougher with the arrival of Texas, Oklahoma. So I just don't see how Ole Miss, cracks it with the big boys in the SEC. Number 8, we have South Carolina, and man, these guys are the king of the Outback Bowl, 3-time Outback Bowl champions in this time period. 163 wins, 124 losses, 88 wins in conference, 98 losses in conference play. They've been good. They've been one of the better teams in the SEC East, but just haven't been able to get over the hump. No conference titles, no, big time attribute. Just been a solid program that has some solid moments. They had Clowney with the hit, but other than that, not really anything that makes you, stand out. Coming in at 7, we have Tennessee, and they seem like they are off to a really, really good start here this year, other than the abysmal Florida game, which I don't know what the heck happened, but I think Tennessee's better than what happened in Florida. But, hey, man, they've won some decent bowl games. You have a Cotton Bowl win, an Orange Bowl win last year, 167 wins, 121 losses, and they're moving in the right direction. They seem to become the second best team in the SEC East, which is a good place to be behind Georgia, but I still feel like there's a huge gap between them. But I like what Tennessee's done over the last 23 years, and they've had a pretty good run of late. Coming in at 6, Texas A&M, another member that joined from the Big 12. They were the little brothers to Texas, and I think the jump to the SEC was huge. I'm interested to see how, now that Texas is back in the same conference as A&M, how that plays out recruiting-wise and all that. But they've had some memorable moments. You have a Heisman with Johnny Manziel. You have a Cotton Bowl, an Orange Bowl, the Peach Bowl. Like, they've won some big-time bowl games, and they've had some big-time memories. And they've had some fun while doing it. If it wasn't for the SEC West being so crazy, I think A&M would be getting a lot more love. But they've had a lot of success, and they look like, maybe Jimbo's getting them in the right direction. I don't know. Too much money for that guy. But all in all, I think A&M falls in at 6. Maybe some people give me hate because they're over Tennessee, but I don't really care. Number 5, and I think this is the perfect spot for Auburn. If you don't have them 5, I think you're kind of crazy if you disagree with me with this. But, winning the Heisman is pretty cool. Getting Cam Newton to win the Heisman. They have a national championship, which is even better. They've won the SEC championship 3 times. You got the Sugar Bowl. They went to the BCS championship game once and lost. So they have a lot of good seasons. They have a lot of good memories. You are the little brother to Alabama, which I know Auburn fans don't like to hear, but that's the truth. But you've had a lot of success, and I think a 5th place finish is perfect. That's where you guys belong. You're better than kind of the lower levels of the SEC, but you're not with the big boys yet over the last 20 plus years. All right, coming in at number 4, and I might get some hate from my fans in the swamp, but Florida's going to come in at number 4. I think they've had a really good longevity over this last 23 years. I mean, 201 wins, 94 losses, 3 SEC championships, 2 national championships, Tim Tebow with the Heisman, 2 Orange Bowls, a Sugar Bowl. Like, they've done everything you can ask. But when you're talking about the SEC, there's just that next level, and I feel like they're in the class of the big boys. But considering it's, been a while since they've won a national championship, they've also had some down years. I think 4th is a fair place to put them. Coming in at number 3, we got Georgia, the best team in the SEC East, and they have been absolutely dominant in recent years. 2 back-to-back national championships. I mean, 4 SEC championship titles. I mean, another playoff appearance. Like, they've done everything asked of them. They've been really, really good. They've been electric. 235 wins over this time period. So, I mean, more power to them, more love. But the 2 programs ahead of them have just done a little bit more on the national stage. And I think it's fair to say Georgia, fits right in at this 3rd spot and deserves it. Number 2, and they're not going to like this. Well, they probably know they deserve 2 spot, but that's LSU, but I know they don't like it. They've won a lot of SEC championships. They've won 3 national championships. They've won a bunch of Sugar Bowls. They have a Heisman and Joe Burrow. They've done everything you can ask, but when you end the day, they're not Bama, right? They haven't done what the Bama Dynasty's done over this time period. So I think 2 is fair. They're really good 2. They would be a 1 in almost every other conference. But when you add it up, you have Bama coming in at number 1, and they've done everything. 4 Heismans, 8 SEC championships, 6 national championships. They do everything. All they do is win. All they do is show up and collect hardware, so one way or another. I don't know how long Nick Saban can keep this up, and it seems like Alabama's a little bit on a downslide. Maybe it's just a bad year and he'll be back next year. Never count out Nick Saban because he's the best coach in college football. But, man, this team is just on a different level. Clearly number 1 in the conference. Clearly number 1 in the nation. They are the best, and they deserve it. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree, disagree with my list? Let me know. Let me know if I'm dumb, smart. And see y'all next time. Peace.